Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our international talk show where we talk to authors from all over the world about their books, their how they got their book published, a little story behind their book. This one's amazing. I got this book right here, Hidden Parable Theory, which is fascinating. This gentleman came up with this theory, and he finds these parables, I guess you call them, throughout the world in nature and history, things like that. We actually have him on the show. Here he is, Matthew Diefenbach. Welcome, Matthew.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me back on.
Did I come close to describing it okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about, here's the cover, tell us about the hidden parable theory.
So, hidden parable theory is a method I use to analyze artifacts to find codes that are biblically based. So, what that means is I can look at like an artwork, usually it's a religious artwork, and I can analyze it to see if there's any special numbers that pop up. And these numbers I'm referring to are biblical numbers or more generally universal numbers. And I use that to analyze certain texts like the Bible to draw very specific conclusions. So I guess to give you like an idea of what a hidden parable is exactly, I usually use this example. It's a very simple idea. It's basically an example of what I call a hidden parable, these numerical codes that are found in the Bible. But if you refer to the Old Testament, Genesis, and you look at the 7 days of creation, well, if you look at the fourth day of creation, that's the day when God created the sun, moon, and stars. So the number four and these celestial objects relate to each other. And that is essentially a biblical number or universal number. And I take these ideas and I simplify them down to construct hidden parables, and based on examples that are found in art. And so that's how I construct these hidden parables based on these artistic examples that are found in the Bible.
Now, are they occurring naturally? Are they put there on purpose?
So I guess to give you some like examples of what I'm referring to as these universal numbers found in nature. So I'm going to go back to this example in Genesis. So if you look in Genesis, like I said, the fourth day of creation and celestial objects, those two ideas relate to each other. If you look further in the Old Testament, let's say the Ten Commandments. On the fourth commandment, it mentions earth. So again, a celestial object is related to
I see.
particular thing. And then even if you go into the New Testament, the universe is referred to the four winds. So as you can see, celestial objects in the number four are related into the Bible. So I take this idea and I construct these biblical codes, these hidden parables. And what happens is they're actually relating to very specific things in nature. For example, if you look at the dimensions of Earth, Earth is roughly 4,000 miles. Now, that's not the number four, but I've come up with my own terms and definitions that are biblically based to look at these numbers symbolically. So the number four, or 4,000 miles in terms of radius, relates to Earth. And that idea is found often in Christian artwork. If you want to take it a little further, let's say we want to expand upon this, let's say this symbolic orb or this celestial orb to other astronomical features. Well, if you look at the stars in the sky from the perspective of Earth, the fourth brightest star in the sky is Alpha Proxima, which also happens to be 4 light years away and our nearest star in relation to ours. So what's very interesting is that number is actually identifying something in relationship to some type of grand design. And you can even take this idea and expand it even further to the dimensions of the universe. And the same thing happens. These universal numbers are showing up. And the reason why is because there were these, like the theological texts such as the Bible, are referencing these ideas to draw a very specific conclusion that leads to an interpretation that may be difficult to understand because it's highly abstract. And
Very abstract.
when you take this perspective, it really simplifies everything into something that's quite logical.
Yeah. Now, again, is this accidentally? Is this through intelligent design? Are artists thinking about, consciously thinking about adding these numerology or whatever you would call them into their works?
So yeah, I mean, technically, if you want to break it down, like what field is this fall into, hidden parable theory? I basically modified an ancient form of numerology
Mm.
to meet Christianity, but you can really apply it to any religion because all the
Yeah.
same rules and principles apply. And what my theory suggests is that these artists have been divinely inspired to create these religious objects that are so profound that they describe the world around us. And so, like, let's say I'm an artist and I want to make an object that's religious and very important. Why not relate it to something like the dimensions of the universe? Because now you just related you relate to an object that's used in a ritual that relates to something to so massive using scale that emphasizes its importance.
Okay. You just said words divinely inspired, so maybe the artist isn't consciously putting these things in, but if their work is truly divinely inspired, it's going to end up in their work.
Right. I mean, it's kind of it's very tricky because, like, there's two ways you can look at it. You could say, oh, they read the Bible and then they took that idea and transferred it into some religious relic.
Yeah.
Or it's they've come up with their own conclusion and what they think is important in putting it into an object.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little of both, but the more critical you look at these objects, like when you're looking for specific codes, they're way too specific for the artist to actually know. It's impossible for them to be conscious of what they're actually referencing to, such as the golden ratio, which is this very complex model that is found in nature.
So, Matt, if I read this book, am I going to understand all this?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of big ideas in it, but I made it so that it could be easily understood.
For dummies. So, I'm a nonfiction guy. I only read nonfiction, so this falls right into the kind of thing I would read. I love to read things about mysteries and hidden ideas and stuff like that. So I was going to say, who's going to read this book? Well, I will for one, but who's your target market? Everybody could get something out of this, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone could find something interesting because there's so much it relates to. But the book that's my most current book, Hidden Parable Theory, The Biblical Codes Found in Nature and Use, focuses more on the scientific concepts and the cold hard facts.
That's good. I like that. Now, you're finding things in relics and art and in writings. Are you finding new things all the time?
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, I can't keep up. So, but I just stick to it. Just keep on doing research, collecting evidence, and there's a lot of ideas supporting this. So.
Now, I do have your web address on the screen, MatthewDiefenbach.wordpress.com. What would our viewers find there?
That will direct you to where you can purchase my book. I've made some pilot episodes that describes my theory. Okay. Also, just some basic contact information.
That's great. So the pilot episodes are on your website or on YouTube, or?
Yeah, they're on my Reddit page. So you can go on my Reddit page or YouTube. Just type in either my name, Matthew Diefenbach, or Hidden Parable Theory. Mm-hmm. And there's a few episodes I made that basically break down my theory. So, like, if you don't want to have to read my entire book to understand the basics of it, you can just watch these 3 episodes. Excellent. And it'll give you a good idea of how I use these hidden parables to find codes and artifacts.
Very good, very good. Matthew, we're way past time. I could talk to you all day about this stuff. But any last thoughts for our viewers?
No, just go to my website, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And yeah, check out my YouTube channel. Okay. I put a lot of time into it, and it's got a lot of good examples that I think our viewers would like.
Very good. It's amazing. It's amazing what you've done and the work you're doing, and I'm anxious to learn more about it. Come back on the show anytime. I love to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
All right, Matthew. We'll be back with more authors right after this.